All right, so let's go over the kind of strategy to play the Qs here. The Qs, if you don't know, is basically an ETF of the Nasdaq 100, and we're actually going to be trading the TQs and the SQs, which are triple leveraged Qs. So basically trade three times more, or three times percentage wise as much. If the Nasdaq, the Qs are up 1%, the TQs are up 3, and the SQs are probably down 3%. So that's what I mean by triple leverage. So anyway, let's start with our. We're only going to use two strategies. It's really only. We're just going to use two strategies. So I'll go over them really quickly here, and we'll get to the chart from today. So pullback strategy. We want three red bars trending, obviously pulling back into the rising 8 or 20 MAs. I use the simple MA, 8 SMA or the 20 SMA, and a green reversal bar. So a couple of things, we'd like that to be a smaller range reversal bar, so I'll show you why. We'd also like railroad tracks, which means that the 8 and the 20 are moving in the same direction in unison, almost like railroad tracks. It's a pretty powerful move, momentum tell. And heavier volume pulling back. I'd like to see that, so the sellers get exhausted when the three red bars come down, and maybe it's time to buy. But these are all just kind of guidelines, but we're going to follow these rules to the T on the chart today, the Qs today, so you can see what happens if you follow this almost to the T. And then another one is our base breakout. It's pretty similar. We're three bars basing, which means they're just going to be going, they're going to base. They're going to base. Into the rising 8 or 20 again, and an igniting bar. And what I mean by that is we want, generally, when base into the rising 8 or the 20, there's some bar or maybe a couple bars that ignite up above the 8 or the 20, and then the 8 or the 20 becomes our support. And that's why it bounces off so much, basing or pulling back. And then other requirements, low risk to reward. A tight base is better. The sloppy bases out there. It's almost hard to define what a base is, and also railroad tracks on this too. When the 8 and the 20 simple moving averages are moving in unison, that's all is very powerful. So the trailing method we're going to use today, excuse me, this is an old strategy, or chart, but you can take a look at these if you want. But we're going to trail out immediately on the 5-minute chart. All we're using is the 5-minute chart with Japanese candlesticks to chart all this. So I'll show you on the chart. We're almost there. So when the first red bar's low is breached, the first red bar's low is the new stop. So anything below the first red bar that we see, which would be a down bar, we're going to sell. That's when we just get out, no matter what. So give room below the stop. General rule is 1 cent per $10 stock price. Basically, the TQs and SQs are in the 30s right now, so it's going to be about 3 cents. And I'll show you that when we get there too. And I always use a stop limit order. I don't just do it manually. I just update my stops and have them set, just so in case something goes wonky, I'm going to be out. So. Well, let's go ahead and get to the chart for today. All right, hey guys, let's go over the Qs today. Obviously we only trade the TQs and the SQs. We're going to start on the TQs today. This is a 1-day chart, or 5-minute chart, but it's only 1 day. I'm going to show you the 2-day 5-minute chart, and here's where we open right here. So didn't gap or do anything, and I kind of know why, because everyone was waiting for the Fed talks. As you can see, Fed start talking right around here. So let's go back to the 1 day. These are 5-minute bars too. But so we're going to start on the TQs because we have rising 8 and a rising 20 close to it anyway, so maybe we can work with it. So technically, the Feds came out with their announcement half hour after the market opened. There was a setup a little bit here, 1, 2, 3, basing into this rising 20, barely, but and then a reversal bar. And then, so if we would have got in here, we would get in above 34.19, which was, it was 34.22. And you want to get in below, or a stop if you have to, below 33.85 or 35 or 33.82. So I didn't do that. I was waiting for. You actually would have made 2 cents there, by the way, probably. Maybe a little more if you got out earlier, but you definitely probably wanted to get out by the time the Fed started talking, because this stuff happens. And that's not very readable to me anyway. So the Feds start talking right here. Market tanks, pretty much. We're on the TQs, which represents kind of just the Qs. So let's check the SQs, because we know these moving averages are going to be, we'll be able to bounce off them, hopefully. So SQs. All right, there's that big bar. I actually almost thought about getting in right around here and setting this as my stop, but I don't trade this volatility when the Feds talk very well, and really wouldn't have worked out anyway, because this bar is actually beautifully strong. It just took out this whole bar and then some. At that point, I'm thinking, wow, the market's probably going up, but there's no buy setups on the TQs yet, anyway. So anyway, this bar comes. It's not a reversal bar. I'm not even really sure what's going on. I'm just kind of waiting for people to digest the information from the Feds. And then it painfully goes up and up and up. And then I'm waiting for it to come back. These are both rising beautifully. 20 in this 8-day right here. But it took a while. It got extended is really what happened. But good thing it kind of based. Actually, it's a pretty decent little base right there. So it bases into this, and I take it above 39.77. It's 39.80. I think I got triggered at 39.81, so a slippage of a penny, I guess. But so I'm in, and I'm like, okay, thank goodness it's going up. Maybe there's a lot more room. Wait for the first red bar, and then that low will be our stop. Was $40.03. So give it 3 cents down. We'll call it $40 even. I actually put it at $39.99. I don't like the even numbers for some reason. It's an OCD thing or something. But anyway, so then another green bar. It's cool, and then another red bar. So we're gonna take that low now as our stop. It's 40.14 down to 40.11. It gets stopped out right away, basically. So I only made 30 cents. You could have maybe made 31 cents on that. So at least you're not feeling cheated, and the method did kind of work. Unfortunately, I took this 1, 2, and 3 into the rising 8, which I felt really good about, actually. And then there was a reversal bar, a little big, but I figured there's more room. At first I was thinking there wasn't enough room for the market to go down anymore, or the SQs to go up, but so I took that. Above 40.28, it was 40.31 is what I entered at, 3 cents above 40.28. And it stopped me out on my regular stop. Yeah, it went down to 40.07. The original stop was $40.07 minus, $40.04, give it 3 cents. And this red bar actually came down to $40.07. Again, I pretty much knew I was done at that point, but I was. So ended up losing almost all the gain I had from this base breakout. So I'm thinking, kind of bummed at this point. I'm like, man, look at this. How am I almost just above break even after all that? But that's the way it rolls. So anyway, from here, you got a green, then a red, green, nothing setting up really. Maybe basing right here into a rising 8. Was kind of liking that. It failed. Never triggered over the top of our base. We got a 1, 2, 3 right here. You could have maybe thought, all right, the 20 was rising. The 8 wasn't at that point. But it didn't. I don't think you could have got triggered on that one anyway. The high was 40.51. If you want to get in at 40.54, it not even close to trigger. So here's another one, 1, 2, 3. But now, yeah, you got a rising 20. The 8 is coming down again. But what the heck? I mean, it is our pattern. One of them's rising. Problem is, it's not bouncing off. It's getting to the 20. And this is technically resistance when the 8 is coming down. But I think this one would have worked out actually. So 1, 2, 3. Then the reversal bar is pretty big, and it burst through both the 20 and the 8. So, that's a pretty deep. No, I wouldn't say burst through on a day like today. It was obviously moving slower at the time, but so if you wanted to take that, I think you would have been okay. I did not. 40.45 was the high. Call it 40.48 to enter. 40.54. You're in at that point. 40.40 is your next stop. Below that, 3 cents would be 40.37. And that way you get stopped out. You get stopped out right there. But what I really like about this, and this is where I did get in on this, actually on this bar. So if you notice, these 3 bars were trending now, not greatly. And this is a big reversal bar. And we want them smaller, blah blah blah. But it did break through here. But maybe it would have been prudent, because this was coming down. Maybe that wasn't the best trade to make. I didn't actually make it. But when it retests the 20 and the 8 on this base, that's a much higher probability of working. And yeah, there it is. So it was rising barely. I think they're both rising by like a penny at the point. But anyway, I took that base. I think it was 58 I got in, and 54 or 57. I think I got triggered at 58 too, though. Over that base, and put your stop below the base, which is pretty small. It's a cool little base. 35 is the low, 34. So 31. 40.31 would have been your stop. And over the high of 40.54 with 3 cents is 40.57. You get in. I got in at 40.58. I'm not sure why today, but so anyway, I'm in. And then I'm starting to feel decent because I can see this trend is right around here. As you can see, we're starting to get some railroad tracks. They might be small, but that's also powerful. These things are starting to move in unison. We'll get our first red bar here at 40.78 was the low. So our new low is going to be our new stop, is going to be 40.75. We're going to give it 3 cents. Even though it is in the 40s, I just followed the 3 cent rule. It's just kind of a general guideline and how I feel the stocks are moving. But unfortunately, bam, just got stopped out right on the penny. Our low right here would have been 40.78, and we put my stop at 40.75. Well, it hit 40.75 right there. Probably would have been stopped out. Maybe not. Gosh. Anyway, I got stopped out on this bar. So I only ended up making, less than 20 cents. I'm still up on the day, but it just feels like a lost day, even though we're up following this. So then we're following this. I mean, at this point, though, I knew this would happen. Maybe not this extra pop at the end of the day, but when you see this, maybe it's time to change your plan a little. This thing is rising beautifully. The 20 is rising beautifully. They're basically in unison. Maybe a little contraction here, a little expansion, but I knew this was going to happen. Unfortunately, that was my last trade of the day. It's Friday, and so I was really only up a small amount. But let's see what we would have had. 1, 2, 3, 4 there. I guess you got 1, 2, 3 trending red bars here. And man, these 2 things are looking like there's no possible way this is going to get breached. It's so powerful. 41.10 was the high. If you get in at 41.13 on the next bar, and you couldn't have even done that. So, and then nothing. And then, really, that's about it. And then just it's Friday late. If you're still in here, it's time to get out, probably. So that's how the day went. I wish it could have been better. I wish I had a better setup down here. I'm sure a lot of people do, but there just wasn't. I mean, if we're going to follow our game plan, we still were profitable, and the last 3 days have been profitable. You're not going to get rich, but 3 days you can't feel too bad about because you followed a plan and it worked. Depending on how much you want to risk, it depends on how much you want to make. So anyway, hope that was helpful. And like and subscribe if you get any benefit from this. And I hope you guys had a good trading week. And I hope you do the same next week. I hope you kind of are adopting this SQs and TQs model where you can always find a pattern that maybe looks like something you want. So anyway, have a good day, and I'll talk to you on Monday. Bye.